Well, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Voices of Video. Hey, I have another amazing guest. And as I always say, all of our guests are amazing. But I really am honored and very pleased to have Dilos Medina with us today. So, first of all, Dilos, welcome to Voices of Video.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as we were talking before we went live, one of the things I love about Voices of Video and this whole format is that, it's sort of like if we just stuck a camera up in front of both of our faces, but we're really just talking, So
Yeah.
we're going to have a great conversation today, and you are the co-founder of Two Coders. And so, why don't you just introduce Two Coders? Tell us who you are, what you do, what the company does. Tell us about, why you started it, how you started the company.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so we started the company in 2013. Actually, my partner, David, the other co founder of the company, we were working together in the same place. And we had the idea to go to IBC actually and try in the Netherlands and try to find some projects. We are based in Canary Islands, in Gran Canaria. So we thought it was going to be a good idea to move to the north and try to find new opportunities. What our company does. So we do software development in general, smart TVs, native mobile applications, web TVs, and we work mainly in the OTT space, but we also work for other sectors like government, companies, digital transformation of companies. So kind of different type of projects, but most of them related to OTT.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And so, you talk about developing apps. Now, would this be like if I have a streaming service and I need coverage on, a new television SDK or, a game console or something, then you could build that app for me? Is that
Yeah, that's right.
basically the core of your business?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So we have our own platform that we will mention later, but we
Yeah.
also have a strong network of partners that we rely on, so we can build end-to-end solutions with these partners. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's so important. I actually started my career in streaming more on the hardware side and the device side and media players specifically. And so I spent a lot of years there and getting apps across all the various devices that consumers have in their hands or in their home. Um, is always a challenge, and it's incredible how much work it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
really
yeah,
is.
nowadays they expect a lot of quality, and so
Yeah,
we have to dedicate a lot of time to have the best performance, to look beautiful, because
yeah,
people are used to the best UIs. So yeah, it
yeah,
requires a lot
yeah,
of work and
yeah.
refinement. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, that keeps you busy. How big is the company?
So we actually started, two of us, the co-founders, back in 2013, and the company slowly started growing. But for us,
Mm.
the year that it was a boom for us, it was 2020. Actually, COVID,
Mm, yeah.
bring a lot of opportunities. It
Everybody
was
needed an app or needed a new app.
exactly.
So,
So yeah, at that time we were around 10 people, but that year we duplicated the amount of people in the company, and
mm.
nowadays we are around 50 people in the company.
That's great. Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. That's a 5x, 5x
yeah,
growth, 500%
yeah.
growth. That's incredible. Yeah. And
Yeah.
everybody is in the Canary Islands or where?
No, since then, actually, into 2020, as we started to have a lot of demand on projects, it was becoming a bit hard to find developers here we are based in Canary Islands, so this is a small place. So we decided to open new offices. We have other offices in Tenerife and another of the islands, and also we had contacts in North Macedonia, Skopje. So we started our company there, and now we are split, half of the company in Macedonia, half of the company in Canary Islands.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Well, we are going to talk about it's fascinating to me because service companies follow one consistent theme and trend.
Yeah.
It starts out being a service company. You are engineers for hire, and every project might be similar, but it's basically different. You build what the customer wants, right?
Exactly.
And that's very rewarding, and you can build a nice business that way. But in my observation, and I've been a part of a few of these trends myself, eventually you end up building effectively a product, because obviously, as you're basically developing, not exactly the same solution for everybody, but you're building an app for Samsung TVs, for example.
Yeah.
Platform A or streaming service B, it could have a very, very different look and feel to the UI, and they have different priorities, but the underlying technology is largely the same.
Yep.
The development language is the same. Obviously,
Yep.
the SDK you're running on is, of course, the same because it's the Samsung TV. And so I would love to hear if you've also gone in kind of a similar direction where you've maybe even started to develop a product, and maybe tell us before we actually start talking about that, because what's the journey been from doing one-off bespoke software projects to having something that is maybe a little more, I'll say, turnkey.
Yeah, exactly. So indeed, this is what happened with Two Coders also. So we started building projects. Actually, from the very beginning, when we founded the company, we had the idea or the vision to have our own products. Mm-hmm. But day to day would take us to be in 1,000 projects. So we were starting some possible options for products, but it wasn't until 2-3 years ago when we started to have a solid base to start a real product, and it's actually based on OTT. So yeah, that's where we are now, trying to promote this new product that we have built in the past 2 years. And it was funny because it all started like an onboarding code base that we had for the developers, because OTT is a niche sector, so not all the developers have the experience with players, with streaming. Exactly. So we had always to dedicate at least 1 month, 2 months, onboarding them on what's streaming, how it works, how a player works. So we started building an application for the onboarding of the new developers, and that ended up becoming a product.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So literally your internal, these are my words, but your training platform, for new engineers joining the team, ultimately became what you now, it sounds like either all the time or most of the time take to the customer and use.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, cool. So what are some of the challenges? I know, having been in this space for a while, I get approached all the time, whether it's on LinkedIn or just cold email, and definitely at trade shows. And by the way, I think it's pretty cool that you started at IBC 2013, and IBC is now just it's 2 weeks away now. We're 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get approached all the time from software development companies, that are wanting to know if I have projects or can refer them. How do you find your customers, and what's that been like? How do people find you?
So initially, we were a very small team, and the beginning of everything was going to IBC. We actually came back with one project from IBC, and that's how we started the company.
Congratulations. Actually. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And after that, to be honest, everything has been spread of mouth. So one customer was
like word
referring
of
to other customer, exactly, word of mouth. So every customer was referring us to other customers. So in the beginning of our story, it was like that way. So we didn't have marketing department. We were all developers at the beginning, and we were bringing projects all the time. Customers were bringing projects all the time. Cool. Now it's a bit different, of course. Now that we have our own products, things have changed a lot, and now we have a bigger size in the company. We have our marketing and sales department. So mainly this year has been a game changer for us. So we are trying to be everywhere, talking to a lot of people, partners. Amazing. So yeah, things have changed a lot.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, that's very cool. Well, let's get started and tell us, maybe a good place to start to actually talk about this platform, the technology, what you've developed is, I think you have a case study that, you'd like to share with us. So tell us about that.
Yeah, actually, we have several case studies, but we noticed that some problem or complication that customers used to have is integrating third-party providers in their platforms. So we came up with the idea of building something that helped our customers to make easy chance or integrate new providers in their platform without having to spend a lot of time or having developers working on that integrations. So we built some SDKs that rely on partners. So imagine that you want to build your own OTT platform. You have already your front-end solution and your back-end, but you need to integrate a new player from a third-party provider. So with our SDK, you have like a menu where you can select your player, your analytics provider, your backend adapter. So running a script, you have your own SDK with your providers ready to integrate in your platform. So in 1 year, if you want to switch to another player or you want to switch to another analytics provider, you can just need to rebuild the SDK and everything will work out of the box. So you don't have to be integrating. We give you all of that straight away.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can certainly understand why the value, why that's valuable. The use for that. Let me ask you this. I think one of the questions that anybody building a streaming service has is, there's always a lot of focus, and the world that we live in here at NetInt is definitely in the encoding side. It's in the encoder, and not just because that's where we work, but a lot of people, when they're going to build a platform or if they're going to fundamentally redesign, they put a lot of focus into that because, of course, that determines your bit rate efficiency, which is directly correlated to cost, and the video quality you deliver, and there's lots of other very good reasons. Plus, it's sort of the sexy side of streaming. A lot of discussion around the codec, should you use AV1 or HEVC or, but the player though is fundamentally where I can produce the most amazing stream that's very compact, but if I don't have either, a very reliable decoding, or if my player requires a lot of battery, or
Yeah.
there can be a lot of things. So
Yeah.
talk to us about how your customers are thinking about choosing a player. And have you developed your own player, or are you tempted to develop your own? But talk to us about the player, because it's pretty
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, we don't have our own player. We rely on partners for that. So
Okay.
something that we didn't want is reinvent the wheel. There are
Yeah,
so many
exactly.
players are out there and very good
Yeah,
ones. So we didn't
yeah.
want to, uh, rebuild something that was already done in a very good way.
Yeah.
So yeah, our customers, of course, want performance. Good quality, so they are always looking to new features. They all want to stand out from other platforms, so they want
Yeah.
to integrate new features like multi-view, overlays, so
Mhm.
that's why we came up with this idea. So we just give you the option that you can choose and put on top of what we offer whatever you want. So if you want to put
Mm.
overlays over our player, you can do it. You just have the base. We actually build our own front-end solution. So if you don't have anything, you have a
Mm.
starter pack where you can build your front-end solution from the ground up using that templates. But also CMS. We also have CMS built on top of Strapi. But if you have a provider for your CMS and you're happy with it, you can just build an adapter and use our SDKs with your
Mhm.
adapter and your CMS, and you don't have to change your, migrate all your content to a new platform or anything. You
Yeah.
can keep using your own CMS.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the idea. Try to give them tools to build quickly and to be able to customize your solution as you want.
Sure, sure. Now, your customers, what content types are they delivering? Is this traditional entertainment content? Is it
Uh,
sports? What is it?
Mainly entertainment and sports. So we normally work with partners that work a lot with the major leagues and sport um, leagues, etc. So we work a
Mhm.
lot with sports customers, but also we have worked with a lot of entertainment and you know this type of customers.
Mhm. Yeah.
But we have worked with live streaming, live events, VOD, etc.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah.
What about interactive? Have you done anything, with interactive? That's really hot today. Is
Yeah.
whether it's in stream, advertising that somehow you can make a purchase, or
Yeah.
quizzes, or betting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For some of the projects, we also had integrated things like is live or live like to have interaction during the playback.
mm,
Is live, for instance, gives you stats of the match you are seeing real
mm,
time, and you can play with it. So it has a lot of interaction. Also, multi-view. We have worked with Time Media, a company from the Netherlands, specialized on multi-view players and
mhm,
also 360. So we have built
mhm,
360 players with them. So yeah, a lot of interaction with the users. Very nice things out there.
mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, interesting. And those requirements are driven by your customer, right? Or do you
Yeah.
bring some of those ideas, to the customer?
Normally, it's the customer. They are major leagues, so they are aware of all the latest trends. So normally
Yeah,
requirements come from them. But we
yeah.
are actually building for our platform some new things that we want to present in IBC. So it would be interesting to show people what we are preparing for our OTT platform, and it's for user engagement and yeah, and interaction with your friends, etc.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's get back to talk about this platform because I think that we can go a lot deeper, and
Mm.
I certainly would like to hear you talk about. Okay, so you have the ability for me to bring my own player. I can bring my CMS. I can plug in. Um, Correct me if it's not the exact view, but it's like I can plug in the functional pieces that I need for an end-to-end streaming platform, and very easily change those out, right? So
Exactly.
I'm not
Yeah.
tied. I'm not tied to, using I don't know, like do you support FFmpeg and GStreamer and
Mm.
GPack
Mm.
and unified streaming? And I'm just pulling some, and
Yeah.
Wowza, for example. Is that
Yeah.
one way that I could
Yeah.
bring whichever transcoder that I want or media
Exactly.
processing framework? Okay.
Exactly. So yeah, that's right. So we have already a good network of partners, but we are trying to increase that network.
Mm,
Every time we are trying to integrate new platforms in our SDKs. So we have right
mhm,
now players, we have payment platforms too at the moment. We have
mhm,
streaming providers. We are talking to CMS providers also. So
mhm,
our idea is to be integrating more providers, so
mhm,
anyone can use our platform. It's so flexible that you imagine that you want to replace only tvOS, so you don't have to change your whole platform just to change one platform. You can start with one platform and then start
mhm,
migrating the other ones without changing your
mhm.
CMS or your streaming provider, etc. So that's the
Yeah,
idea behind it.
yeah.
So it's flexible enough and built for change, so you can change
Interesting.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. Are you? I'm curious. Are you relying mostly on the native SDK of the device, and then you're using that, or are you streaming? Are you using like an HTML5? Effectively a browser based. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a web app type of a framework. What approach
Yeah.
are you
Exactly.
using?
For mobile, for tvOS on the TV, we use a native platform, so we are not using any kind of HTML hybrid
Mhm,
solution.
mhm,
But for responsive web consoles and web TVs, smart TVs, set-top boxes, we are
mhm.
using a HTML
Mm,
solution. So it's basically the same code base for all of them, with
yeah,
small difference in every platform has their own remote controls and their own
yeah,
players. So
yeah.
with slight changes, but the base is the
But
same. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the latter, using an HTML5 kind of a web app approach has
Mm.
the obvious advantage in that by definition,
Mm.
um, across devices, the user experience is effectively the same,
Yeah.
whereas the SDK, the native SDK, especially on set-top boxes, can, um, I think they tend to be sort of normalizing more and more.
Yeah.
But Apple TV, or TV Plus looks different than Roku, and it
Yeah.
looks different than fill in the blanks, some others.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Well then, okay, so how is this deployed? So let's say that I'm operating a service today. Maybe I built it. Maybe I have a team. Maybe you built it for me. But I talk to you and I say, "Wow, this sounds amazing." So how is this deployed? Do I need to be running on AWS, or do I run in my own data center? Talk to
Yeah,
me
you
about
can.
that.
It's flexible again, so we are not tied to any specific hosting provider. So you could use AWS, Azure. Um, Again, if you want to host it yourself, you also can do it.
Mhm,
You have your data center, you want to host it yourself,
mhm,
that's fine. We are
mhm,
not, again, tied to any type of
mhm.
hosting provider. And then also you can set up your CDNs as you wish, so you can
Sure.
serve your content everywhere uh,
Yeah.
with the provider you want.
Yeah, exactly. I would assume that's definitely required. So is it set up where I effectively have a container, where you've Dockerized, I guess, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's exactly a word, but where you have a container for each of these services, and then, I can kind of swap things in and out that way. Is that at at the most basic level how the system works?
Yeah, it's all using this type of technology. So
Okay.
DevOps know more about that than myself, but we can serve that in Docker instances, etc. So yeah, or
Okay.
app services. So it's
Yeah.
you can deploy whatever you prefer.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, sounds good. Why don't we talk? You're in a good position to observe trends, that are
Yeah,
happening in the industry, and um, oftentimes we find that we also get asked by both
Mhm.
our customers and others who are just saying, hey, so what are you guys seeing? What are you hearing? What are people talking about? So what are some of the? Let's start with some of the current industry challenges.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, are your customers mostly concentrated in Europe, or are they Europe, Latin America, U.S.? Like where are you strong? Where are your customers strongest in terms of
Yeah,
where
we
they're
have.
delivering their
Yeah,
service?
we have a lot of customers in UK, also
Mm.
US. Even now, we are working with a customer in Australia. So it's
Ah, cool.
everywhere. So we don't have any
Yeah,
specific region where we have our customers. So uh,
understand.
luckily, we have customers everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so what are you seeing for challenges? It's very well publicized in the U.S. market, because the biggest companies are all public, and
Yeah,
so every time they report earnings, they are
Hmm.
reporting, their subscriber growth, or in the case of the
yeah,
cable companies,
Hmm.
their subscriber losses,
yeah,
quarter upon quarter. So as much as certainly all entertainment content distribution has gone to
Hmm.
OTT, so
yeah,
that's been a fact for years. So that's not it's not new
yeah,
news. But there's some interesting challenges because setting aside Netflix, and again, I'm going to make some very general statements. So if anybody who's listening works for some of these
yeah,
platforms, I'm not suggesting that only Netflix is successful, but it is generally true that Netflix is the one streaming service that the stock continues to perform. They are just really doing a great job on video delivery, quality, the experience, the content
yeah, exactly.
catalog. That's so. How are companies dealing with this?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, as you say, Netflix is setting the standard, so
Setting the
everyone
standard. Yeah.
is used to Netflix quality, to Netflix user experience. So, and
Yeah.
as you say, it's outstanding. So, uh, all the users want the same in all platforms. So, people is
Mm.
very worried about performance, security,
Hmm.
interaction, and now, as you say, also a lot of customers are interested on server-side advertisements to get
Yes.
revenue from their platforms. So
Yeah.
finding new ways of funding their companies. So yeah, a lot of focus on that. Also, customer asking for with the appearance of the Vision Pro, the Apple Vision Pro. Now there is some interest on
Mhm.
virtual reality, augmented reality,
Yes.
AI. Of course, AI will
Yeah.
bring some new things for customization and for user
Yeah.
personalization. So there are a lot
Yeah.
of trends now that going this way.
So like, yeah, Vision Pro is really fascinating. It's a very specific device
Mm.
that is both the player as well as the screen. You know.
Mm.
So what are people doing? Is it more, like a gimmick, sort of just to, kind of make people like, oh wow, check this out, it's cool, but they watch for 10 minutes and then they take it off and they look on their phone? Or are they creating new experiences? Like what are your customers doing with the Vision Pro? How are
Yeah,
they
exactly. So
using that experience?
I think the first step is migrating what they have in other platforms to Vision Pro, just having something that people can use. But this is not the final step. They will have to take more advantage of the device features. And I
Yeah.
think this device is like a beta, version of what we are going to get in 2-3 years. So
Mm,
we have to be prepared for what's coming. And I think
mm,
I personally think this is going to become something very big. And yeah,
mm.
people is starting to think about new experiences that they can share on Vision Pro, and
Yeah.
we probably will get new providers giving similar devices out there. We had
Yeah,
already,
that's
we
right.
had
Yeah.
the Quest 3 there, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a big thing in a few years, but from
Mm,
now.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I know VR and XR, extended reality, but XR is taking a hold in kind of more enterprise corporate training, simulation type environments, or even like remote technical work, so I'm aware of some very, very interesting use cases. So it's definitely a thing. But for entertainment, VR sort of, I think there's even, I'm always a little bit surprised when I meet people in our industry who are so quick to like dismiss the exciting new things, like, oh yeah, VR, that's never going to take off. Nobody cares about it. Because first of all, like, we have a vested interest in these things succeeding.
Yeah.
If they succeed, well, we're going to get to deliver more content. That means that no matter what part of the ecosystem I'm in, it's probably gonna be good for me.
Yeah.
Plus, it just stokes new investment. It generally stimulates upgrades. Sometimes
Yeah.
entire workflows have to be rebuilt, which means more development, more products, more software license. Anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
always surprised when I run into, but it is generally true that the industry has largely said, yeah, VR, nobody cares about it. We're not even focused on it. And that's true. It is true that it's not every house has a Vision Pro. That is true. But these things have a way of changing very fast, and they
Yeah.
change slow until one day there's a tipping point, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And so
exactly.
I
And
really see there's a tipping point that's coming.
yeah,
Um,
and we are old people. The new generation, they are digital natives, and they will request for
yeah,
a lot of this type of devices. So what
yeah,
is working today, maybe in 10
yeah,
years will change completely. So we have to be
yeah.
prepared for what's coming.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay. All right. Well, so I really would like to know though, what do you see as the biggest challenges, that are facing the streaming media industry?
Yeah. So as I said before, Netflix is setting the standards very high. So low latency. You have to be at the same level of Netflix. If you are not there, people won't consume your content. So
Yeah.
this is one of the main challenges now. Have uh, perfect performance when you are playing video,
Yeah.
have a very interactive platform that gives you personalization, that you can customize your way, etc. So
Mhm.
I think everyone's working in that way, trying to improve quality and being everywhere in all platforms.
So what I hear you saying is that your customers are coming to you, and you know, you obviously have to sit down and have a pretty in-depth conversation about the features and the functions, but you probably have to start by saying, you know, what's your target? What are you trying, you know, what are you trying to achieve? And what I hear you
Exactly.
saying is almost everybody's saying we need to be Netflix.
Yeah.
is kind of the reference. Is that
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
every platform has their own niche, and so
Of course, yeah,
they when they come to you, they have the target audience already set, and it's very
yeah,
clear. So after that, when making that ability comes,
yeah.
the as I said, Netflix is setting the standard. So yeah, it's all around that. Having good
Okay,
quality. Beautiful user interface,
yeah,
have it everywhere available, so in your phone,
yeah.
even in your car,
Across devices,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. So, are a lot of your customers coming to you with requirements for infotainment systems? You know, in-car infotainment.
Yeah, we are actually talking to one company right now to try to do something with our platform in cars. So even
Mm,
in planes, we have been trying
yeah,
to talk to uh, a company that make
mm,
infotainment system for private jets. So
yeah.
yeah, that's
Interesting.
something that is also in our radar.
Okay. Yeah. Very, very cool. All right. So, how is Two Coders, you know, preparing for these future developments? You know, I think we both tend to agree that new entertainment experiences like VR, for example, you know, they're definitely not mainstream today. They're, you know, I
Yeah,
don't think they're going to be mainstream tomorrow,
yeah,
but at some point they will be. You know, they're going to
yeah,
be a
exactly.
part of the normal, you know, entertainment landscape. Yeah. So what are you doing to prepare
Yeah. So
for the
we are
future?
actually investing a lot of on research and development. I would say half of our developers are working on internal products, and you know, uh,
Mm,
training for new trends. We are always, looking for new challenges. Vision Pro is one of
mm,
them, but we are also, I was discussing with David, my co-founder, that they were looking at videos of how supermarkets, prepare their products in the shop. So trying to get ideas from other sectors that we can apply to our sector. So we are always trying, we have in our blood the entrepreneurship, you know, um,
mhm.
idea. So we are always trying to find new ways to develop our product. So yeah, I
Interesting.
think
Yeah.
research it's very important if you want to be to succeed as a company.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, as a you know, as a software development house, and you know, working with a cross section of the industry, I think that a lot of customers will come to you, and you know, obviously they're hiring you to build something, and you know, you have to
Mm.
deliver that. But they're also coming to you because you know they realize fundamentally that you may have exposure to you know trends or technology directions, or frankly have a little bit more experience than they could have even internally with like which technologies are even work today, you know, because
Yeah.
I think that's one of the you know, I call it, it's a consistent theme, it's a consistent
Mm.
problem that never goes away in our
Yeah.
industry. Is everybody you know hears about the latest codec standard or the latest
Mm.
technology standard, or you know there's always something new, but then the question is, but is it really ready? You know, can it
Mm.
really support you know my
Mm.
platform, which you know might be quite large, and
Yeah.
you've got a perspective on that. So
Yeah.
do you find that's true? Do you that
Yeah. Exactly. So we
yeah,
always try to be using the technologies that we think they will have longer,
yeah,
a longer journey, so they won't end in 2 years, and then we have to rebuild everything from the ground up. We tend to use native for mobiles, tvOS, for all devices, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, for set-top boxes and smart TVs, it's much easier to have one code base share. So we rely a lot on React for web development. We use it also for our web platform. But then we also rely a lot on the technologies that our partner provides. So we always try to be aligned with what they are using. So
yeah, got it. Okay. Very interesting. Well, good. Well, this has been a nice conversation. I've really enjoyed, hearing both the entrepreneurial journey and, congratulations on all of the growth. In, I guess, 10,
you.
11 years. It's pretty amazing to go from, you and your co-founder in 2013 to grow the company to 10 people, and then now to be at 50 people. That's, with 2 offices, and it's very impressive. What, are there any upcoming projects or, announcements that you're going to be sharing at IBC? Can you give the listeners an intro?
As I've been mentioning during our podcast, Velvet is our main focus right now, and we will be presenting all of this in IBC in 15 days. So we are very excited with this opportunity. It's the first time we're going to have our own booth in IBC. So it's going to be a really exciting moment for us. We're looking forward to be there.
What is the name of the platform? Your product?
Velvet.
Sorry.
Velvet.
Oh,
Velvet Media Platform.
Okay, Velvet. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, well, good. Well, for any of the listeners who are going to be at IBC, obviously there's always a lot to look at. It's a pretty big show, but it sounds like you probably should stop by 2Coders and and meet the team and check out Velvet, and of course, while you're walking around, stop by the NetInt booth as well. We'll be very happy to host anybody who wants to, experience more of what we're doing. So
everyone is welcome to talk to us, and we will be delighted to show you what we have built.
Yeah, great. Well, good. Well, Dailos, thank you again for coming on Voices of Video, and we will see each other in 2 weeks in Amsterdam.
No, that's great. It will be nice to see you in person.
Awesome. Likewise. Well, good. Thank you.
Thank you.